Hello, Village Church. Daniel Semsen here, your worship pastor, just with a little devotional thought for today. Today I am reading from Mark, chapter 14, verse 66. This is where Peter betrays, or not betrays, but disowns Jesus, or denies that he knows him. All right. It's actually right after Judas has betrayed Jesus, right? So setting the scene, we've just been in the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus was praying. The chief priests came, and Judas betrays Jesus. They arrest Jesus, take him away. All the disciples flee. Everybody's scared. They don't know what's going on. The Messiah, Jesus, who they said was the Messiah, who they thought was the Messiah, who Jesus said, yes, I am the Messiah, is now arrested, and things are going badly, and nobody knows what's going on. People are afraid. So here we are, verse 66. So Peter has followed Jesus a little bit from a distance, trying to find out what's going on and ascertain what's happening and with the situation. And here's what happens here. While Peter was below in the courtyard, so just a little ways away from where Jesus is being held, one of the servant girls of the high priest came by. When she saw Peter warming himself by the fire, she looked closely at him. "You also were with that Nazarene Jesus," she said. But he denied it. I don't know or understand what you're talking about," he said, and went out into the entryway. When the servant girl saw him there, she said again to those standing around, "This fellow is one of them." Again, he denied it. After a little while, those standing near said to Peter, "Surely you are one of them, for you are a Galilean." He began to call down curses on himself and swore to them, "I don't know this man you're talking about." Immediately the rooster crowed the second time. Then Peter remembered the word Jesus had spoken to him, "Before the rooster crows twice, you will disown me 3 times." And he broke down and wept. So there, people have often wondered, and I had often wondered, man, here's Peter, like one of Jesus's best buds and very close to Jesus, the guy that Jesus says, "You are the rock upon which I will build my church." Here's Peter, this dude that was sure that Jesus is the Messiah, and now he is, disowning, he's denying that he knows Jesus. Why would he do this? Why? Well, Peter is afraid. He's filled with fear. He's not just afraid, he's terrified. He's completely beside himself. And here's what happens when we become afraid. We get flooded with emotion. We enter this state that people call the flight or fight, where you're either going to, there's something happening, you're afraid, you become filled with emotion and filled with fear, and you're either going to fight that thing or you're going to run away, whatever that is that's coming at you, whatever that's making you afraid. Fight or flight. So here everyone has run away. They all took that flight option and ran away. And they're all filled with fear, just completely overwhelmed with fear, you might say. And fear, the thing about fear is that fear makes you do crazy things. When you are afraid, you aren't thinking logically. You do things that you would not normally do in your normal state of mind when you are filled with fear. And, it just makes me think about some of the crazy things that are happening right now in our society. People that are panicking, that are afraid of what's coming next. They don't know what's happening tomorrow. We don't know what's happening next week. And this is why we're out of toilet paper, and the grocery stores are overrun, and there's a line of, 100 people waiting outside Costco just trying to get in. It's like the things that are crazy. It's because people are filled with fear. We're filled with fear. We don't know what's happening. And Peter was so filled with fear that he denied knowing his best friend. or his mentor, or, his Lord, his Messiah. So I just have been thinking a lot about this passage and wondering, okay, so what is the antidote, to fear? What is the opposite? Some might say faith is the opposite of fear. And that's great. It's a good word. I heard somebody say once that the antidote to fear is to take action. If you're afraid about the test that's coming tomorrow at school, study. That's taking action to help calm your fears. If you're afraid about, something else, there's to take action. I get that. I understand that. But I'd rather turn over to John, the book of John here, chapter 14, verse 27. And here's what I think is a great antidote here for fear. And these are the words of Jesus. He's speaking in John 14:27. He's speaking to the disciples, and he's saying, "Peace I leave with you. My peace," Jesus is saying, "my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." The peace that God gives us, the peace that comes from the Lord, the peace the Holy Spirit brings into our hearts, this is the antidote to fear. This is what makes us not be afraid. It's not something that we can conjure up ourselves. This is not something that we can bring about. Okay? This is something that is a gift from the Lord, and it's something that He has given us. Okay? Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not be afraid. So that's my encouragement to you today, to remember that God has given us peace. It's already been given, okay? And He has encouraged us to not let our hearts be troubled and not to be afraid. So let's rest in His peace today and tomorrow, okay? And God bless you.